So, you want to be a wedding planner. And the truth is, I don't blame you. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. My name is Andrea Eppolito, and we are here today celebrating life, luxury, and above all else, love. I found the wedding and event industry when I was just 15 years old. And so over 30 years later, I can tell you from personal experience that this is the most rewarding, the most challenging, the most intense, crazy, insane, worthwhile career that I could ever have hoped to have had. You know, I tell everyone that being a wedding planner is not a profession, it's a passion, it's not a career, it's a calling. And I mean that because there is something that all of us wedding planners have in common, and it's this deep desire and this need to make the world a prettier place. It's this thing inside of us that makes us want to go out and tell other people's stories. And so when I am online or when I'm out in public, when somebody sends me an email or leaves me a DM and says, "Oh my God, I love your work. I love the industry. I really want to be a wedding planner. I'm just not quite sure how." First of all, I love that. And I welcome everybody into the industry. And there are so many things that I want to share, which is why I've started this channel and why I've maintained it for the last 5 years. But today, because people do continue to ask, today we're going to start with 10 very basic steps, 10 tips on how you can become a wedding planner. So the first thing that's so important is that you truly, completely immerse yourself into this industry. You should be following all of the top wedding planners. You should be following wedding planners whose work maybe doesn't resonate with you just because you want to understand and see and know what's out there. You should be reading wedding blogs. You should be watching videos and listening to podcasts. You should be reading magazines and following every celebrity wedding that takes place. You should be looking at florists and photographers. Your entire life in terms of studying and developing should be dedicated to the art of wedding planning. Now, a lot of times you'll hear lawyers talk about the fact that they practice law. You'll hear people talk about the fact that the yoga that they do is a practice. In so many ways, I say that I like to practice wedding planning because there is never perfection, it never ends, and it is always growing and changing. And to be a part of something that is that dynamic, that is that kind of evolutionary, means that you need to live it and be surrounded in it and by it every single day. When you do this, it's going to lead you to step 2, which is education. Now, I have people reach out to me all the time and say, "I want to be a wedding planner. Do I need a college degree? Do I need a certification? What exactly do I need?" So that somebody says like, "Okay, you've learned it, you know it." Do you need any of that to become a wedding planner? And the answer is no, you don't. You don't need a degree from a 4-year university. You don't need a certificate from anyone. However, education is the great equalizer. Educating yourself online in a classroom with a mentor means that you will have the benefit of all of those years of experience. You will have knowledge that you can get from a book or from a podcast or from a video that you don't need to go and learn the hard way out into the world. And so I always say, even today, I have dedicated, hundreds of thousands of dollars to my own education. I continue to educate myself, whether it's with books or with mentors or with business coaches, but you need to be educated. And in order to do that, the first thing you want to do is you want to find someone or someplace or something, a business that you really respect, and start studying the business. Read about small business law. Read about small business accounting. The pretty of wedding planning is you as an artist. But what you really want to educate yourself about is insurance, load-in, drayage, the cost of production, the cost of scope of work. You want to understand how people get paid. You want to understand how long it takes to do certain things. You want to understand tech and AI. Make a list of everything that you expect to see, do, questions, things that you need to touch, things that you need to build, and learn about each one of those elements. I can tell you that when I started my business, I didn't understand business insurance, but I'm sure glad that I do now. I didn't necessarily understand accounting. I didn't understand how to build a website or SEO. As a wedding planner, your job isn't just to make pretty weddings. It's to run a business that supports your art. And so when you talk about education, I definitely want you to understand the business side of things, because the business is what allows you to work as an artist. The third thing that you are going to do is you are going to develop a set of skills. So think about what skills wedding planners have. Yes, there's the creative. And so I want you looking at pictures. I want you building mood boards. I want you sketching. I want you to kind of play with AI. But there are so many other skills. You need to be a great communicator. So work on your ability to write emails that are clear and concise. Work on your ability to speak to people. Practice the art of conversation. Can you get to know someone? Can you profile someone? What can you look at on a person and say, oh, by seeing this, I've learned this, and that would inform me to help make this stylistic decision. I want you to develop time management skills, and whether you use an app for that or if you start time blocking, wedding planning is incredibly heavy in terms of workload. There are phone calls, there are emails, there's designing, there's sketching, there's accounting, all these different things that you need to do to run your business within a certain time frame need to be handled and addressed. And so you need to develop the skill of juggling, of making sure that you don't drop balls, making sure that you check things off. So any type of skill that you need to develop, whether it is time management, accounting principles, responding to emails, communication, or just sketching and communicating your design, before you start your business, you want to make sure that you have a really strong foundation in the things that you know you need to do. Once you have that, you need experience. And I'm not just talking about experience in weddings. I'm talking about experience in hospitality. I'm talking about experience in events. Now, the very best way to do this is to get a job in the industry. And I always think that one of the best places to start would be at a venue. Go and work, whether it's as an admin, a server, a bartender in the kitchen. Go and work at a place that does weddings. It's the greatest opportunity you have to know how long does it take to set up and break down 200 chairs? What does a chef need in order to build out a menu? What kind of power does a DJ require? And what lighting works best for photography and video? All of these little things that require you to be tactile and hands-on. Go out and get experience in the form of a job. Now, maybe you feel like, I've been working my whole life. This is my second act. This is my side hustle. I don't necessarily have the ability to go out and start from square one and get a job. Okay, I understand. There are other ways to get experience. Go and volunteer at a charity. Sit on the event committee at a local school. Go to a church. Go anywhere that they are hosting events. Start planning your own parties for your own little organization. Host a big holiday party at your house, or go out and throw a birthday party at a restaurant for a friend. The point is that you want to actually have hands-on experience in having an idea and bringing it to life. Once you have that, the fifth thing you are going to do is you are going to write a business plan. Now, your business plan does not need to be pages and pages and pages filled with technical terms or anything like that. Your business plan is simply, this is who I am. This is the kind of work I want to do. This is my ideal client. This is who they are. This is what they want to experience. And this is what makes me uniquely qualified in order to attract and service them better than anyone else in my market. Your business plan should include something like, this is how much money I need to make in a year. And so I'm comfortable doing X numbers of weddings. And so for round numbers, I want to make $100,000 and I'm comfortable doing 10 weddings a year, which means I need to charge $10,000 for each wedding. Or do you? Did you take into account taxes? Did you take into account cost of running your business? Maybe you actually need to make $12,500 a wedding. But in any case, your business plan needs to be a starting point, just a place where you can say, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is who I do it for, this is how I do it, and this is how I make my money. Because if you don't have a business plan and if you don't have a way to make money, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. And we really want you to have a very sound, foundational business. And that's step number 6, is doing the paperwork. How do you actually start this business? Well, you need a business name. You need to file that name and get a business license. You need to purchase and take all of the digital real estate associated with that. So you're gonna need a website, you're gonna need an Instagram, you're gonna need a TikTok. Any digital platform that's out there, you should own your business's name on it. All jokes aside, I have an OnlyFans account. I'm not posting on it, I'm not creating content, I'm certainly not OnlyFansing my OnlyFans account, but that is a platform. And so my business name owns that real estate. It's important that you take your name every single place that you can. You also want to make sure that you have an email address. And I'm not talking about, my wedding planning business at gmail.com. I mean, Andrea@AndreaEppolito.com. You want your email to match your website. You want to have a separate dedicated bank account. So go into your local branch, have a conversation about starting a small business account. And you really, really need to immediately buy small business insurance. Now, I can't give you too much information on all of these individual pieces because the reality is state to state, the requirements are different. So find a lawyer, find somebody locally, go to the bank and just say, I need help. And you have so many resources at your fingertips. Go online. There's a ton that you can learn. What I needed to do in Nevada is very different than from what you would need to do in, say, California or Oregon or Florida. So make sure that you are doing the things you need to do in order to run and establish the business where you're physically located. That's really, really important. Once you have your business set up, the next step you're gonna do is you're going to network. So I know that when I first started my business, I had a website, and I had a name, and I had insurance, and I didn't have a whole lot else. But because I had immersed myself in the industry, because I had been studying and watching, I knew that there was a group that was hosting these little mixers. And at the time, it was for NACE, and it was a catering executive mixer. And so I went, and I just kind of showed up, and I bought the ticket, and I said, this is my name, this is my business, this is what I'm doing, and I'm just looking to meet people. And immediately I met photographers, I met videographers, I met florists and venues, and I was able to say to people, first of all, I'm here, I'm investing the time and the money to be at a professional mixer, I'm showing up the way the industry shows up, and I want to play nicely with everyone else. And so you want to put yourself in positions to meet the people that you're going to be working with. Having good relationships, especially locally. And I think that while some people do start as a destination planner or a destination designer, more often than not, we start in our own backyard. And so by being able to say, I have a great photographer that I know, that I like, that I trust. I have a videographer who responds to my text messages really quickly. I have a florist who has the same style as I do and who sees the world the same way. And gosh, this catering manager at the venue has just been so sweet and so helpful. I'd really like to do something there. This gives you number one, it gives you a foundation. Number two, it creates your own community. And number three, being a business owner is hard and it's insulary and you feel alone a lot of the times, especially when you're first starting. By creating this group, you not only have one-on-one support, but when you start going out on social media, you now have a social network, and that's going to help legitimize you by saying, this photographer who's maybe been in business for 3 or 5 years knows me, and they kind of vouch for me. And oh, look, I'm also connected to this person. I'm connected to this person. It creates a sense of trust for clients who are looking at a new business, but saying they may be new, but look at how many people they know. Look at where their influence is. And so networking is very important. Having this network is also going to help you with the 8th step, which is developing a portfolio. Now, developing a portfolio is kind of in the same vein of get experience. How do I develop a portfolio if I've never done any work? It's a catch-22. But when you have a great network and when you're coming into the industry, people, I promise, want to help you. And so the easiest thing to do, the best place to start, is to say, I'd like to do a styled shoot. And so you go to your network and maybe you're not setting up a full wedding, but you're saying, let me go and set up one table and let this photographer shoot it, and let me get a photo of myself doing it, and let me have a model wearing this dress. And you create all of these pieces that you can then put on your own website, that you can put on your social media. When you're trying to create a portfolio, it's not just of the work, it's also about content creation. So think about all the things that you would be touching that your clients would want to know you have a foundation in. So perfect example, if it's Bridal Fashion Week, maybe you go to your local bridal salon and say, can I take photos of the top 10 dresses that you're selling? And can we talk about why? Can we do a guest blog? Can we do a podcast? Would it be possible for me to come in and help you so that I can understand fabric? And you're documenting it all. And you're showing your ideal clients, you love fashion. Not only do I love it, but I'm trained in it and I'm well versed in it. You love flowers. Here I am at the flower market, picking out the exact roses that are then put in this centerpiece that are now on this table. Photography is important to you. Here I am interviewing this photographer who locally is doing such great things. All of this to say it has to be yours. Please don't go out and show, borrow, share, or ultimately steal somebody else's work. And even if you're using it as an example of this is work I love, there are better ways to authentically and originally show who you are, what you're capable of, and the team that you're going to use to build that. It's really important in building your own portfolio. And that portfolio is going to help you market your business. And that's step 9. 400 years ago, when I first started out, the only way to market your business was to go and to place an ad, whether you were placing an ad in a magazine or on a local TV station, on a radio, with the Knot. That was marketing. Today, people who are starting their businesses have the ability to market directly to their ideal client, and that's called social media. So you need to be on social media all the time. Yes, you should be on Facebook. You should be in Facebook groups. You should be in newly engaged couple Facebook groups, giving value, adding tips, giving people things to do. And then yes, also saying, I'm here as a resource and I'd love to have your business. You should be posting photos, posting videos, posting talking head where it's just you like we are here and you're sharing information. Doing that on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube Shorts. All of that is so important. And yes, you should absolutely be advertising your business. Now, everyone's business is different. And so if you are looking to stay super local and you're looking to do things only in your one little area, you may want to advertise in a country club magazine. You may want to advertise on a local radio station. You may want to advertise on The Knot or on Wedding Wire. You could go out and put yourself on something a little bit bigger with a more national presence, like an Inside Weddings. You could be advertising on Style Me Pretty. There's a ton of opportunities to advertise and market your business. And when you go back to your business plan and you figure out who you are and who you serve, that will help you determine who you're marketing to. And the last and final thing you're gonna do is you're gonna get that first client. You're gonna give them an actual legitimate contract. They're gonna sign it and they're gonna pay you. And the minute that they do that, congratulations, you're now a real wedding planner and it's your job to execute. And when it comes to execution, be honest, be hardworking, be the first person to show up and the last person to leave. Be willing to die in that room to get it right, not just for your clients, but for yourself. Because when you're a wedding planner, especially when you first start out, I mean, I've been doing this for 100 years and there are still times, every time, where I'm in a room and something happens and you're like, all right, I'm backed into a wall. There is something happening and I need to fix it. And when the sky is falling and the world is on fire and it's crunch time, for me, this is when I feel the most alive. It's also when I'm valuable, even if it just means that the napkins got tipped over and we have to refold them. Or sometimes it means that something is late or the bride is having a moment or the groom's mother, needs a tissue. Whatever it is, on wedding day, everything feels heightened. Everything feels like an emergency. You need to be the calm in the storm and you need to execute as if your life depends on it, because their memories truly do. Now, these were 10 things that you should do today in order to start becoming a wedding planner. If you're looking for a bigger level of education, if you want specifics on how to develop your social media, if you want a copy of a starting contract or a timeline, I do have an online course. It's called The Business Blueprint for Wedding Planners. It's linked below, and there's going to be a discount code in case you want to sign up for that. I love this industry. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. Every single day I pinch myself because I know how lucky I am to be invited into people's lives, to be able to tell their stories, to stand on the sidelines and watch as they go through some of the most important moments of their life. And I also know what an incredible responsibility and how humbling it is to be able to come here and to teach people like you. So for today, I thank you for spending your time with me. This is Andrea Eppolito, celebrating life luxury and above all else love. If you have any questions, leave them below. Until next time, we'll talk again soon.